You were told the Vikings chased glory and laughed at death. That was a lie. They believed the ending was already fixed. Even the gods couldn't escape it. And the most disturbing part is this. They walked toward it with their eyes open. The end was already written. Not as a rumor, not as a warning, but as a certainty, patient and unblinking, waiting at the edge of time. The Vikings did not believe the future could be escaped. They believed it could only be met. Fate was not a suggestion in their world. It was pressure, a slow, invisible force shaping every step, every birth, every death. Long before Ragnarok was spoken of as an apocalypse, it was understood as an appointment, and they did not try to stop it. Modern stories say the Vikings were obsessed with glory, that they chased death without fear, that courage could overpower destiny. That idea is comforting and wrong. Because in their own myths, even the gods fail. Odin knows how he will die. He spends his life trying to learn more, to delay it, to understand the shape of the trap closing around him. He sacrifices an eye for knowledge. He hangs himself on the world tree for wisdom. He gathers the bravest dead warriors to fight at his side. And none of it works. He sees Ragnarok coming with perfect clarity, and he walks toward it anyway. This is where the story turns. Fate, to the Vikings, was not about reward or punishment. It was not karma. It was not justice. It was a structure, cold, impersonal, already moving. They called it weird, a web spun by beings older than the gods themselves. The Norns do not argue, they do not explain, they do not care if you are ready, they simply weave. And once your thread was seen, everyone around you treated you differently. Every life had a thread. Some were long, some were cut short without warning, and no amount of strength could change where the scissors would fall. But this wasn't the worst part. The Vikings believed you could know your fate and still be powerless to change it. Prophecy was not a gift. It was a burden. To be told how you would die did not allow you to avoid it. It only forced you to live with the knowledge, to wake every day knowing the ending was already decided. This created a strange kind of courage. Not the loud kind, not the reckless kind. A quiet endurance. If death could not be escaped, then meaning had to be found somewhere else. Not in survival, but in conduct, not in victory, but in how you stood when the end arrived. This is why Ragnarok mattered. It was not just the destruction of the world. It was proof that nothing, not even order, not even the gods, was permanent. The sun would be swallowed, the seas would rise, bonds would break, not because someone failed, but because this was how the world was designed to end. And yet, the gods still prepare. They sharpen weapons, they train the dead, they build walls they know will fall. Why? Because refusing to act would be worse than failure. And this belief bled into human life. A Viking did not first ask if a battle could be won. That question came later. First came another. Is this where my thread ends? If the answer was yes, fear lost its power. Running would not save you. Hiding would not delay the cut. Only meeting fate directly preserved dignity. But this did not make them reckless. It made them deliberate. You do not waste time when the ending is fixed. You do not lie easily. You do not break oaths lightly. Reputation was not vanity. It was the only thing that might outlast the body. Because the future could not be controlled, but memory could. And this is where the modern myth collapses. The Vikings were not obsessed with dying. They were obsessed with being seen correctly when they did. To die well meant alignment. Not fighting fate, not begging, not pretending there was another path. This belief was heavy. It pressed down on daily life. Every storm could be the one meant for you. Every sickness could already be counted. Every child carried a future no parent could fully protect. This wasn't inspiring. It meant parents stopped promising safety. It meant leaders stopped pretending they could save everyone. And yet, life went on. Fields were planted, songs were sung, laws were debated. Not because people believed things would last, but because doing nothing would be a betrayal of the role assigned to them. This is the part most people miss. Fate did not erase responsibility. It intensified it. If your actions could not change the ending, then they were judged only by intention and resolve. Cowardice was not punished because it led to death. Death came anyway. Cowardice was punished because it wasted the moment before it. And then there is Ragnarok itself. Often described as a final battle, it is something colder than that. It is the collapse of agreements. Wolves break free. The dead walk. Kin turn on kin. Not because evil wins, but because the systems holding the world together fail. Order does not fall in a scream. It dissolves. The gods do not survive, but neither does chaos. After fire and flood, something remains. A quieter world. A few survivors. New growth. Not a victory. Not a reset. A continuation. This mattered deeply. It meant that even fate was not the end of meaning, only the end of a cycle. The Vikings did not believe Ragnarok was avoidable, but they believed how it was faced would echo into what came after. Once you accept that fate cannot be changed, no one is coming to help you, and that is where it becomes worse. Because you are left alone with yourself. No excuses, no bargaining, no alternate endings. Only the question of whether you met your moment awake or asleep. This is why Ragnarok was not a story for children. It was a reminder told to adults. The end is coming. Not because you failed, but because endings are built in. Knowing this does not free you. It weighs you down, but it also strips away lies. You stop pretending there will be time later. You stop assuming someone else will fix things. You stop expecting mercy from the structure of the world. You act, because acting is all that remains. So did the Vikings believe in fate? Yes, but not as a chain, as a horizon, always visible, always approaching, and the closer it came, the clearer everything else became. In the end, Ragnarok was not about destruction. It was about honesty, about facing a future that does not bend, and choosing, in the narrow space left to you, to stand.